All right, guys, welcome back to the last episode of our running back tier rankings. If you're watching the overall, this is going to be tier 4 here. You just heard us break down tier number 3. If you're joining us just for this video, thank you for joining. Follow us on Twitter at TDC_Calvin or Dale at Dynasty_Dale. Dale, last tier, you ready to do this?
I am ready and willing.
All right. So this tier, we've already had a casualty recommit to back to college.
Yeah.
So Blake Corum was going to be part of this tier, just for everybody out there, but unfortunately he recommitted to Michigan. I'm getting better with these names, but we got a couple guys here in this tier. So there's a common thread, if you've noticed, through my tiers so far. And tier 1 was the guys that I think are going to be first round picks. They're the workhorse potential guys. Tier 2 are the guys that have super high ceiling, super high floor. They're a little bit more of a gamble, but I think that they're going to be able to make a splash in the actual NFL draft. They're going to be pretty high there, and then they're going to be pretty good for fantasy as well. Tier 3 are kind of the guys that are good but not the best, and there's some they're very good. They're good in most areas. They're pretty well rounded, but not all of them are great, or they have some bigger risk associated with them, right? Tier 4, these guys are the outliers, and when I start talking about them, you'll understand why. But these guys are the ones that scare me for fantasy football, and there's a lot of measurables, and I talked about this with the quarterbacks. I'm probably just not betting on these guys for what they're going to go in your rookie drafts. And not to say that they're never going to be good in the NFL. They could be great, but I'm not going to bet on them because I'm done betting on outliers, right? I'm not going to bet on the Kylers of the world, even though Kyler's been good, but he's small, man. Bryce Young, he might be just fine, but he's not Kyler Murray, and he's also very small. So I just don't want to bet on these guys that they're going to be able to outproduce their negative traits, essentially, right? But I'm going to talk to them, and I'm going to talk about them, and you can make up your own mind. They're all very, very good, don't get me wrong, but it's just very scary. So first guy we're going to talk about, probably one of the best, most explosive guys in this draft class, and that's going to be Deuce Vaughn. He's also the smallest guy in this draft class. He comes in at 5'6", 176 pounds. That is not conducive for a workhorse running back. So he's never going to be a workhorse guy. At most, he's kind of a gadget guy, but with that size, man, 5'6", you are making a massive... You can never line this guy up in the slot, right?
No.
It's just not possible because even if he's one of the fastest guys, NFL corners, slot corners are going to be at least 5'10", 5'9", 5'10", so they're going to be able to manhandle him on the line of scrimmage. So Deuce Vaughn, very, very good player. Very, very good. Don't get me wrong there. Probably the best pass catcher in this entire draft class. Maybe him or Bijan Robinson. I don't really know which one's better. But 3 years with Kansas State, so it's Big 12, not the best football there either. Some of these guys aren't playing the best, but 651 carries for 3,600 yards. Very good there. Ton of usage at Kansas State, which was impressive. And you did get to see him. I think it was the first play of the game against Alabama in the bowl game where he broke off an 88-yard touchdown, which was pretty impressive. But 34 touchdowns through those 3 years, which is pretty good there. Another knock on Zach Evans there. But who's counting? But the biggest thing here is 116 catches in college for 1,280 yards. That is insane for usage for a running back in college. Like, that is by far the best usage of any of these running backs in college. So, not the most naturally gifted pass catcher, but he's very, very good. He's probably the number 2 in this class, probably behind, maybe top 3. I'd probably say Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs might have him beat a little bit there, but very good through the air. Again, the only downside is he's 5'6". Man, if only he was 5'9", 5'10".
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he'd be so good. But what are your thoughts on Deuce Vaughn here?
He is Darren Sproles.
That's
That's how I feel about him, and it's very ironic that Darren Sproles also went to Kansas State. So, it's I just find that very ironic. So, I think he's very fast. Like he's a very able runner. He's just not the typical size you have, as a running back. So, I feel he's very capable. Like I really feel that he'll be a very, very good third down running back. I
He's
feel he has good hands.
he's
You
like
know,
Jerick McKinnon.
yeah, yeah. I honestly see him like that. Like,
Hmm.
it's being in for those gadget plays, and then he's gonna be behind those big offensive linemen, and then he's gonna like be able to escape out of there and just do crazy stuff.
So
I yeah.
one of the questions I have for you. So do you think because he's basically Darren Sproles, can Darren Sproles work in the modern NFL?
Yes, yes, because there's I feel the game is so fast compared to
It's
when
getting
Darren
fast. Oh my
Sproles.
goodness.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's getting faster because there's more rules for offensive players.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I feel he can do well, and he can be very, very productive. But unfortunately he's gonna be he's gonna have that gadget guy tag on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So the second question for you then is when Kansas City takes him in round 3, are we going to be all
Round
over
one,
him or?
Calvin. Round one.
No, I think they learned their lesson
Dynasty.
last time. They're
No,
still
I know.
paying
I
Clyde
know.
round 1 money
Oh,
there,
I
so
know.
they're not going to do
Oh, I
that
know.
again. But
No, 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 no. Oh,
maybe
no,
round
no. I
2,
I
maybe.
know. Right. Exactly. No, no. I mean, honestly, like Kansas City, great. Like I can
Mhm.
see him
If
doing like the.
if
I
anybody
mean,
knows how to use
I
Darren Sproles, I would say Andy
yeah.
Reid does, right?
It would be Andy Reid. Yes, exactly. And I honestly think he would fit in so well. Like, it would be him, Tony, kind of being those gadget guys, and
Hmm.
they would be
He'd
damn
be
near
the.
unstoppable.
There was a reason why I called him Jerick McKinnon. I honestly think he's going to end up Kansas State to Kansas City. So I think that's
Yeah,
where we're ultimately going to go here. Even though Kansas City is not in Kansas, right? It's in Missouri. Isn't that how that works? Um,
technically, yeah.
but close enough, right? Just a little bit of a leap over there. But yeah, I think for Deuce Vaughn, the biggest thing is going to be he's going to come to the combine. He's going to, he's going to blow it out. He's going to be very explosive. He's going to be very fast.
Mhm.
We can see all of these positives on tape. He's going to measure and he's going to be small. He's going to be light, and
Oh,
draft capital is going to be the biggest thing for Deuce Vaughn. So if he does go to Kansas City in like the 4th round, or San Francisco, somewhere like that can utilize his skill set, and I trust the coaching staff, I'm all for it. But if not, then excuse me, if not, then I'm again, I just don't want to bet on outliers here, and I think that he's going to be drafted. He's going to be overdrafted in rookie drafts, and we talked about it
yeah.
in tier 3. Sean Tucker and Israel Abanaconda are guys that I would rather have over Deuce Vaughn. Sean Tucker probably will go before Deuce Vaughn, but I would say
Hmm.
he's probably going to go ahead of someone like Israel, and I would rather have Israel. He's the prototypical size, just as explosive, and maybe not as good as of a pass catcher, but still, I think that Deuce Vaughn,
Uh,
he's got some hills to overcome here.
I mean, I personally would rather have Deuce, um, because of the things you were saying, because he's. I mean, I don't feel he's gonna be. I really feel he's gonna be a Darren Sproles.
Hmm.
I really feel that. I really feel he has the knack in the eyesight to be able to do all those things and be that guy, and to be a really good kick returner, punt returner, kind of an all around guy where like it's for Abaconda. I think he's gonna be lucky being a mid day 3 pick, and I don't really see it compared to Vaughn personally.
We'll see. We will see. Tyler
Yeah, I
Algier
know,
was
I know, I
a
know,
5th
I know.
rounder, right? So
I agree. I agree. I
I
agree.
say this all the time, hey. You know this.
I know.
I've
I
railed
know.
about this so many times, but all the time people talk about how running backs are less important. You can get them more replaceable than ever. So fade running backs, but also don't draft any running backs that are taken in 4th, 5th, 6th round. Tyler Algier is someone that I really liked last year. I think I had him. Look at it. I might still have him in here. I do not. Oh, I do. I had him pretty highly. I had him above Jahan Dotson last year in terms of my rookie rankings. Brian Robinson, I had Algier above him as well. So I really liked Algier. People told me, oh, he was a 5th round pick, so you can't take him that high. Well, turns out he was pretty damn good. So, Deuce Vaughn, he's probably someone that is going to be very good. Again, my biggest downside with him is you can never put him in the slot, though. Like, you can't put him in the slot. And if you can't put him in the slot and he's only coming from out of the backfield or sweeps or something like that, I just feel like it's too gadgety for me. And I don't mind being wrong on someone like Deuce Vaughn, but again, I'm not right 100% of the time, as much as I don't want to admit that. I am right all the time. But no, I might be wrong on Deuce Vaughn, and I'm okay being wrong on him. So that's the biggest thing for him. So any other thoughts before we move on?
Well, I mean, on Vaughn, like I'm really excited to see where he goes because I can see him being a pretty easy second round rookie draft pick and going ahead of some of those guys and just because of the name and the excitement.
All right, so who's right or who's wrong, we can find out in about 4 months. But the next guy we're going to talk about is going to be Tyjae Spears. And Tyjae Spears is from Tulane, the American Conference. Dude, I'm learning all kinds of conferences, going through all these rookies. I don't even know all the conferences, but American just sounds bad. I'm not going to lie to you. But Tulane did just come out and absolutely wreck USC in the number 1 draft pick for 2024, Caleb Williams, who was pretty good in that game, to be honest. But no, Tyjae Spears, you had the stats on him. What was his stats from that game? They were ridiculous. This guy is insane.
Yeah. It was 17 attempts for 205. 4 touchdowns,
Good.
and he averaged 12 yards a carry
against USC, who does have a decent defense, don't they?
No, they have a horrific defense.
Do they? Okay.
I could probably average 3 yards a carry against.
You could get maybe 1.5. I'll give you
I'm
that.
going to go 2. I'm going 2.
So, all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's someone that's going to be very interesting. But again, just like Deuce Vaughn, he's listed at 5'10", 195. So, he's not as small as Deuce Vaughn, but he is a small back. And we were talking about Sean Tucker. I knocked Sean Tucker a tier because he was 205. This guy is 10 pounds lighter than Sean Tucker at the same size. And, you see the explosion on tape, but American Conference and small, I don't love that. And you look at his stats, though. They were pretty good. And it's funny that he was listed as a freshman for 3 years. Must have been something there. But didn't really play much the first 2 years there. Last couple years, he's really gotten a bulk of his carries and his usage through the air. 427 total carries. He must have had an injury his freshman year. That must have been it. Or two injuries, I'm guessing, is probably what happened there. 427 carries for 2,900 yards, 31 touchdowns. You like to see that. Again, Zach Evans getting the end zone a little bit more there. 48 receptions for 564 yards and 3 touchdowns. So, above average stats on the ground, above average yards through the air. Pretty explosive when you watch him on tape, but again, he's a little bit older. He had that extra year. He is a senior or junior, I guess. He's a redshirt junior. How's that work exactly? College is weird. I don't really understand it all, but a 4-year junior. So whatever that means. And then, it isn't the best conference. He's a little bit smaller. And I don't think he's someone that I think is going to get no draft capital. He's probably going to go, he's a mid day 3 pick, a 5th, 6th, 7th rounder. And, Tyler Algier, I loved him. I did have him ranked pretty highly, but it's hard to bet on outliers like him every single year. And if it wasn't for him going to the Atlanta Falcons, I don't think that he would have gotten used as much. Atlanta had a very desperate need at running back, and he was able to fill that hole. And he played very, very well while filling that hole. So Tajay Spears is someone I think he's going to go somewhere to be a backup, and I just don't know if he's going to have enough to really make a splash, but just someone that's worth keeping an eye on. You have any thoughts on Tajay?
I really like Tajay Spears. It was the one game I really watched of his was their was their conference championship game. And really for him, like he was their whole offense.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole offense ran around him. So, it's for him. Like I just saw him run angry. He was all everywhere. He was kicking passes. He was running through defenders. But it's really the big thing for him is just his build. So,
Yep.
I think that's going to be his. I really think that's going to be his biggest detriment is his build and his size. And for him being a 4-year sophomore, like him having injuries is going to be a concern. Like he probably got like a medical red shirt one year, and that's why he was technically a sophomore. Um, or like however it worked. So I mean, I'm more worried about his injury history and him delaying. I do feel he has that going against him, but other than that, I really like him, and I'm really excited to see what he does. And
Sorry, I muted myself there. He's very hard not to like, and
yeah,
like you said, he's got what it looks like. And one of his best attributes in my mind is his vision. I showed a couple highlights there. And what he's able to
yep,
do is just, see the holes as they're kind of forming in front of him. And I do love that about him. So I think that there's potential for him to go somewhere as a backup and maybe carve out a role there. But yeah, I just have a feeling that he's going to go pretty late in the draft. And
yeah,
that's the only downside. So we're going to be shocked by some of the picks in the actual NFL draft, but Tajay Spears definitely a name worth keeping track of now versus later. So, any final
absolutely.
thoughts on him?
Nope.
All right. So the last guy we're going to talk on is someone that people are very high on. I don't know. He's bigger Deuce Vaughn for me, but
Yeah,
Devin
agreed.
Devin Achane from Texas A&M, Achane, I think it might be Achane. Um,
Could be.
Dude, CH is like one of the dumbest letters, like pronunciations in English language. I'm not gonna lie there. Like church is CH, right? But then Nicole is CH as well. So how does that make sense, right?
Yeah, no, and then I just looked up how to pronounce his name. It's Ah Chain. Yeah, it's Ah Chain.
So it is chain. Oh, so it is sound. All right, great.
Yeah, all Chain.
Thank you for joining us
Yep.
for English Literature 101 here. But he's someone that is very explosive, just like Deuce Vaughn. He's literally bigger Deuce Vaughn. He's listed as 5'9", 185 pounds. So he's smaller than someone like Tajay Spears, who we just mentioned. And again, it's very tough to bet on outliers. He's going to come in, probably going to rank very highly at the combine. He's going to be very, very quick. You can see that on tape. You'll love to see that with that size. But again, 5'9", it's tough to put him on the slot, because he's still probably smaller than most NFL slot corners. And, those slot corners are just as quick as Octane is going to be. So you don't love to see it, but his stats, very good usage, 3 years with Texas A&M, who is in the SEC, so better competition there at least, which you do love to see there. So he's been able to be very efficient against better competition. 369 yards, nice number there. I like the 369 there, so pretty nice. For 2,376 yards, not the best, not the most explosive guy, 6.4 per carry, but 21 touchdowns, same as someone like Zach Evans. But it makes sense for someone like Devin Achane here because he's small, right? He's not a goal line type of guy. He's doing it more from 15, 20 yards out there. 65 total catches through 3 years, 554 yards through the air, 8.5 average there. It was a big drop this last year. He was averaging about 10 to 15 his first couple years, and then this last year, massive uptick in receptions. all of them were a lot shorter, so he just wasn't able to produce as much there. 5 touchdowns through the air as well. And again, there's not really much to say here that we haven't said on Deuce Vaughn, right? I'm not betting on Deuce Vaughn. At least Deuce Vaughn is he's shorter than him, and he's only a few pounds lighter than him. So at least he's more of a bowling ball type of guy, while being probably just as fast, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
Where Achane, he's someone that he just likes to. He's shifty, right? He likes to utilize that mismatch in speed and size. And again, it's just an outlier that I'm fine being wrong on. I probably won't be wrong on this one. I feel more confident on that, but I've seen him as a lot of people's top 4 running back in this class, and I'm just like, man, that is.
Oh, no.
Again, I get it. We're looking at the upsides and the positives for all these guys, but not looking at his size is a massive problem. Like, he is tiny, and when you get that into the NFL, it's so tough for someone like this to be a fantasy contributor, a massive fantasy contributor. There's probably going to be years in the future where Devin Achane and Deuce Vaughn are, they might finish as top 15 guys, but it's going to be outlier seasons for them where it's not going to be repeatable, right? It's not going to be something you can predict every single year, I don't think either one of them is, neither of these guys. These guys size-wise are more closely aligned with Austin Eckler, but they're just not going to, I would bet that they're not going to be the next Austin Eckler there. So what are your thoughts on Achane? I'm trying to say his name as many times as possible.
I fully agree with that. I don't think I think he has a lot of razzle dazzle, but he's not really anything. Like, I mean, he's kind of like the shiny sports car that everybody sees, but it doesn't go. But it's not as effective,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. So, he's exceptionally fast. Like, he's probably going to have one of the fastest.
Yes.
I'm just gonna say that. So I feel he's super fast. He's good with the ball in his hands. But the problem is that he's probably gonna try to get too cute in the NFL and try to bounce things outside. Where honestly he just needs to run north south. So I think he's gonna. I mean, I think there's a place in the NFL for him, but I would rather have Deuce.
Yeah, and that's where it's tough. So you can see the highlights that I did show right there. One of the things that stands out specifically for him, he doesn't like to take hits. And that's not always necessarily a bad thing. But again, you're going from college to the NFL where these guys are bigger, faster, stronger. And, if you're just running out of bounds first chance you get when you're on the sidelines, it's great for the longevity of your career, but it just means you're leaving more yards on the table, right? And that is going to rub so many coaches the wrong way, where a lot of these running back coaches, they don't even want you to take a cut if they think that it's going to be better for you. So that's just the thing to think about there. And again, it's a risk, but Deuce Vaughn is pretty much everything we talked on here. So any last thoughts on Achane before we move on?
Nope.
All right. So that was our last tier of running backs. Again, these are pretty early rankings here, but there's going to be some movement for sure. There's going to be guys, we don't even know if all these guys are committed to the NFL yet. A couple of them still could bow out, go back to college, but we're not sure just yet. So thank you guys for joining us. Let us know your thoughts over on YouTube, wherever you're listening to the podcast. Leave a like, subscription, comment, whatever it is that you want. You can call us idiots if you want. You can call us geniuses. I prefer that one. I'm never wrong. So if you just want to admit it, that'd be great. But no, thank you guys so much for joining us. You can find us again over on Twitter at TDC_Calvin. You can ask us any trades for Dynasty, especially since we're getting into the off season here. A lot of teams are rolling over their leagues, so there's a lot there. Again, I talked about it on the last episode. I got a startup coming up here in 2 days, so I'm going to be really kind of cranking out some content for that, and I'd be happy if you guys ask me any questions in your startups as well. So any last thoughts, Dale? Oh, and you can find Dale over on Twitter at Dynasty_Dale.
Yeah.
Almost forgot
There,
that.
there
But
we go.
all right. So thank you guys for joining us. Next time, we're going to be back with the wide receivers, which is going to be a little bit more interesting. It's not the best class. So hint, hint, it'll be, and I'm pretty good at evaluating wide receivers. So just keep that in mind. So thank you guys for joining us. Have a good night.